Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment here for my NFL Week 7 picks and predictions. Last week was extremely mid as I went 7-7 straight up and I went 2-2 against the spread. Yikes. I was having a great season pretty much up until that point, except for week one. Week one was a little shaky as well. Let's get back on track. I'm still in first place for the SFE Pigskin Pick'em Challenge. And this week is not going to be that interesting, I think, when it comes to a lot of picks. There's a lot of favorites by a touchdown or more this week, only a couple of close games that might decide things. So this is going to be a boring week, I'm anticipating, but we could always be wrong. This is indeed the NFL. So let us begin with tonight's game. That is the Thursday night football game. We have the New Orleans Saints at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Thursday night games have not treated us well this season. They've been absolutely awful, especially and particularly for the last 2 weeks. Now, this one will be more interesting. Now, it's not that interesting record-wise as both these teams are 2-4, but these are two teams that can put up points. Now, I say the word can because the Cardinals have been very inconsistent at doing that this season from drive to drive. And the Saints have actually been pretty consistent. I'll give the Saints, they can score points. And they've been dealing with injuries offensively, but when they're healthy, they can score points. But they're still not completely healthy now, are they? You know, that's still the problem going on there as Jameis Winston and Michael Thomas continue to work their way back. And I think tonight they're just going to start Dalton. And maybe Winston's healthy, but they just want to start Dalton tonight regardless and see what happens there. So, interesting matchup. I really feel as if I should, and I mean really should pick the Saints to win this game here. The Cardinals have been a massive disappointment for me. Now, I knew they were going to take a step back, but I had them making the playoffs at 10-7, and I no longer believe that's going to be the case. But it does feel as if they know that their backs are a little bit against the wall. They're at home. The return of DeAndre Hopkins to the lineup. Kyler Murray should have a nice resurgence here. If not, Cliff Kingsbury, you are in a lot of trouble. And I don't know if that's particularly fair, considering the fact that, I mean, he's above 500 and he's in his NFL career and he's improved every season except for this one. So is our rule that, okay, the minute you have a down season, we're going to fire you? Is that our rule? I don't know. Maybe that's going to be the rule. We'll see. But I expected them to do what they've done thus far. They won 5 games with him, 8 games with him, 11 with him. This year I expected 10. I expected a regression just based off personnel. I didn't think it was going to be his fault. To this point, it's kind of been his fault. So I'm going to pick the Cardinals here. I'm not loving it, but I'm going to pick the Cardinals here. We move on to the next game. We have the Atlanta Falcons at the Cincinnati Bengals, where the Falcons, wow, 3-3 Atlanta Falcons. And what a game. What a Mariota-type game where he's 13 of 14 last week, about 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, efficient as hell, not throwing for many yards, but doing what he needs to do to get the job done. The Falcons have been in every game this season. They're 6-0 against the spread. If you've been watching the games, they've all been close. They could easily be 0-6. They could easily be 6-0. The hell is going on down in Atlanta in the ATL? And now they travel to Cincinnati, where I think that we might have another close game here. The Cincinnati Bengals have a terrible run defense, and the Falcons run the ball very well. That's almost all they do offensively. So I'm expecting a close one here, people. Do not sleep on this one. I think the Falcons might cover the spread again. Now, I'm not going to pick this for my Gary Damn tees because I think it's a little crazy to predict a team to go 7-0 against the spread. But that's what I think is going to happen. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I think that's what's going to happen. But I think ultimately I have to go with the Bengals to get it done in the clutch here because they're a little more clutch than the Falcons. But if the Falcons win this, you got to start looking at that 7th seed, that 6th seed. And if the Bucs continue to struggle, maybe even the division? Conversations we did not think we would have. We move on to the next game. We have the Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys, where Dak Prescott finds himself returning to the lineup, and we'll see how he's doing with this thumb. And look, this is a match. Well, it's a decent matchup for him to come back against because I think the Lions are better than their 1-4 record will indicate. They can put up points on you, and they're going to put up some points in this game, but they're facing this great Dallas Cowboys defense. You know, it's so odd, this Cowboys team. You look at their team 2 years ago when they were so offensive, 3 years ago, and then now they're so defensive. If you only could have like merged the two, they would have won a Super Bowl or two. But unfortunately, you just missed timing there. It's crazy how that works out. Got to go with the Cowboys here. It's plus 7 for the Lions. Interesting line. I'm going to stay away from it personally. But if I had to pick, I think I'd pick the Lions to cover that, to be honest. But again, I'm going to stay away from that line. I think it's kind of dangerous. We move on to the next game. We have the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to preview this game tomorrow night. So hopefully stick around for my preview of this game tomorrow night. But right now, quick prediction. Now, honestly, I should pick these teams to split, because historically that's what they do. However, the Titans were able to get the job done at Lucas Oil Stadium 2 weeks ago. They find themselves coming off of a bye week. I love the Tennessee Titans under Mike Vrabel after a bye week. And the Colts, while they got it done last week, and they have 3 wins now. And what is that now? Is that 3 in a row? I'm not sure if that's 3 in a row, but I think it might be 3 in a row for them. None of them have been particularly impressive. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's still banged up, although I think he will play in this game, and I think he will be productive in this game. I'm not sure what impact he's going to have. And again, I love this team coming off of a bye weekend. The fans know, the team knows, like, they can go ahead and get good control of this division. It's a big game, and I expect the Titans to show up at home and get it done. Give me the Titans. But if the Titans lose here, there's no need to panic. The Colts, to me, are still an 8-win team at best. At best. They could be 4-2-1 after this game. They're an 8-win team at best. Everything is going to come crashing down momentarily. I guarantee you of that. We move on to the next game. We have the Green Bay Packers at the Washington Commanders. And the Commanders find themselves finally victorious. Wow, finally, I had a great prediction last week as I had the Commanders winning it in Thursday Night Football in ridiculous fashion, and oh, how ridiculous it was. But now they find themselves in Washington, hosting a desperate Green Bay team coming off 2 straight losses, one to the New York Giants, last week to the New York Jets, and you just can't see Aaron Rodgers losing a 3rd straight game, this Packers team losing a 3rd straight game. I just can't see it. Got to go with Washington at home to get the job done. And, got to pick Green Bay on the road, get the job done in Washington and get sort of back on track, but they are in trouble. We move on to the next game. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers, where the Carolina Panthers still stink. They're now trading people. I mean, this is turning into a disaster. Robbie Anderson was having an argument with an assistant coach on the sideline. So that's fantastic to see. That's just great to see. Don't you just love to see that? You also saw Steve Wilkes, toss him out. More drama. They couldn't score points. They did score an offensive touchdown last week. It's an absolute disaster. And here come the Bucs, where Tom Brady's pissed, where Tom Brady's getting a divorce, where Tom Brady's yelling at his offensive line. It's a disaster right now for Tampa Bay. But what a perfect opportunity to get back on track. They're going to Carolina, getting the job done. Got to go with Tampa Bay to get the job done against the Panthers. Panthers are the worst team in the league. But hey, you're going to get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. Hold on to. We move on to the next game. We have the New York Giants at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are struggling, as Joe Namath would say. They're struggling. I mean, they've fallen and they can't get up. And I love it. I love to see it after everyone wanted to proclaim that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win the AFC South. Ooh, look out for the young Jacksonville Jaguars. Here they come. Wow. They're 2-1. Well, now they're 2-4. And this is why we don't proclaim the Jacksonville Jaguars to ever do anything. I mean, after how many years? 26 years of existence, you would believe at a certain point, did they come in at 96 or 99? I think they were 99, actually. No. They're pretty good in 99. It should have been 96. After 26 years of existence, you would believe that people would finally understand not to pick the Jacksonville Jaguars to do anything, and yet they still don't understand this. I don't know why. With that said, I'm going to pick them to do something. I'm going to pick them to beat the New York Giants here. It's 3 straight losses for the Jaguars. While they're bad, they're improved. And they're not bad enough to lose 4 straight, I think. Whereas the Giants, okay, we all know they're playing better than the record indicates. We all know, okay, at this point at 5-1, it's really hard and it'd be really difficult for them to even, or for me to project them to even miss the playoffs. Like, that would be a hell of a projection for me to sit here and make. At this point, it would be a little too much for me to sit here and make. I mean, how do you go 5-1 and not win at least 9 games? Now it's happened, and they could do it. So they'll hold me to that. But they should go 9-8, like make the playoffs. They should. But hold on. I mean, we'll see. We still have a long ways to go. By the way, Giants fans, I really want to know. I'm very confused. What are the Giants going to do when it comes to Daniel Jones? Because he's still not proven to be a franchise quarterback to me. I don't know, but he's winning games, and it's going to be this is contract year. Are you going to franchise him for $30+ million? Wow. I mean, that's a hell of a price tag for Daniel Jones, or just let him go, or re-sign him for 1 year, 12, 13, 14, 15 million. That's what he deserves. He deserves 15 million max, 20 max, maybe 20, maybe. That's what I'd give him. So we're going to see about this situation. But for now, got to go the Jaguars. I think they get back on track. I think the Giants come back to earth a little bit. We move on to the next game. We have the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens, where the Ravens find themselves doing fine. It was unfortunate last week that the Giants came back and defeated them. This is why I didn't have the Ravens as Super Bowl contender. I think everyone that had a brain could look at their personnel heading into the season and know this. But for some reason, people believe that Lamar Jackson can do anything, and he can do a lot. He can do a lot. But Lamar Jackson cannot carry this team to the Super Bowl. Not this year, maybe in years past, not with this roster, not with these wide receivers, not with this. I got to go with the Ravens at home here. Now, I think this game is going to be a little more interesting than people are anticipating. I think that the Browns, coming off of a bad loss to the Patriots, are going to want to show up and try to keep their season alive before they go 2-5. So I'm intrigued here. We're going to discuss that more when it comes to my guarantees. But for now, give me the Baltimore Ravens to win this game in Baltimore. We move on to the next game. We have the New York Jets at the Denver Broncos. Okay, my mic was fine. I don't know why my OBS studio was lying to me. But so we move on to the next game. We have the New York Jets at the Denver Broncos. And the Broncos find themselves struggling, man. I mean, they can't score points to save their lives. And with that said, the game was still there to be had. I mean, the Chargers are so underwhelming. The Broncos still could have easily won that game Monday night, but there was just no chance. And this was despite Russell Wilson starting 10 of 10, 110 yards, and then nothing after that offensively. It was really bizarre. They can't run the football to save their lives, including him. It's very bizarre. Whereas the New York Jets are playing well, and I'm buying this. I am buying the New York Jets stock heavy. While I'm still not convinced when it comes to the Giants, the difference, I think they're very similar because they're very similar that they have young talent. I think the Jets have more young talent and more impressive young talent. I think Kayvon Thibodeau is very good for the Giants. He's going to continue to improve. I think now, Leonard Williams is returning to his previous form. But you look at the Jets' young talent. Sauce Gardner's already a young star, and he pulled the cheesehead move, but I loved it. He's young, brash, cocky, and controversial, and I love cornerbacks to be that. Quinnen Williams looks like an absolute budding star. He's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL. Garrett Wilson is already showing things as a rookie as well. Breece Hall looks like one of the more impressive rookie running backs we've seen in a while. Young talent. Elijah Vera Tucker is good on the offensive line. The question is Zach Wilson, who can't throw. And they refuse to throw with him. I mean, I'm not going to say that he can't throw entirely, but they really refuse to throw with him. Like they refuse to throw the football consistently. This is something that they just refuse to do. They just say, hey, let's just, throw for 100 yards, if that, maybe 150 at best, and then run the ball. And it works. They've been winning games. So I want to see, because if this guy's not it, they got to get a different quarterback in there, because the Jets, with this young talent, they could be a real contender in the upcoming years. I am that much a believer in Gardner, Williams, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Garrett Wilson, and Elijah Moore, and Corey Davis is now being a little more consistent. Wide receivers, their offensive line is going to get better as some of these players get older and healthy. Not even healthy right now in the offensive line. The Jets are for real, and it's incredible to see. And I love their jerseys, so I love seeing this resurgence of the Jets. Give me the Jets in Denver to go there, get it done, and continue this impressive streak. I think they're headed for the wild card this year. Robert Salah, I need to start keeping receipts like Robert Salah. All right, we continue. We have the Houston Texans at the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Raiders, 1-4, coming off of a bye week. It's time to wake the hell up. If they want to save their season, they have to do it now. Houston Texans, who cares? Okay, you got to win. No one really cares. You don't even care. I mean, at this point, but hey, Dameon Pierce is playing well. So that's something, I guess you like that. You have your running back of the future, so that's something that you have. The rest of your team is garbage. I mean, Lovie Smith can coach it up as much as he wants, but that's all he can really do. So you got to go with the Raiders here. If they can't get this done, season's over. Essentially, not really. I mean, it is a 17-game season, but essentially, and then it's time to figure out what the hell you're going to do because you're already tied to Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr for a while. So they're going to have to just figure it out as best as they can this season because I don't think anyone's getting fired. All right, we move on to the next game. We have the Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Chargers. And the Chargers find themselves at home again here, hosting the Seahawks. Now, here's my problem with this game. I've seen the Chargers underwhelm at home now twice this year. Once they lost 38-10 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then they underwhelmed against the Broncos. That they should have easily put up more points against the Broncos. I don't know what the Chargers are doing offensively. I guess they really miss Keenan Allen, who could return. My prediction here is just on Keenan Allen. If he plays, give me the Chargers. If he doesn't, give me the Seahawks for an upset. Because Kenneth Walker, this guy can run. And the Chargers' run defense has not been very good this season. If Kenneth Walker is out there running around in L.A. where it's pretty easy to go down there and play, I like the Seahawks to win this game in L.A. And L.A.'s coming off of a Monday Night Football game. That's not a short week. I hate when people say short week, but it's a shorter week. I could see the Seahawks going to L.A. and getting it done. But if Keenan Allen plays, I'll say, okay, I'll pick the Chargers. But I think it's all on Keenan Allen. I think without him, they just don't move the ball. I don't know what it is, or at least not consistent enough for me. All right, we move on to the Kansas City Chiefs at the San Francisco 49ers, a rematch of what was that, Super Bowl 52, if I have my numbers correctly. The numbers always blend for me, but I just like saying 2019, like after the 2019 season, I always think about it in terms of seasons more than the number, but it should be 52. And the Chiefs look to beat the 49ers again. The 49ers are reeling right now. A lot of injuries, and they're going to get some people back. But you're talking about like last week, they had like 11 starters out. It's just brutal right now for the 49ers. And the Chiefs coming off of a loss now, coming to town. You got to go to the Chiefs here, all coming off of a loss. Mahomes is so good off of a loss. Andy Reid so good coming off of a loss. 49ers go down to 3-3, and deservedly, I never bought into the Super Bowl hype for them this season. I had them 9-8. And that was with Trey Lance, and I still have them 9-8, and that's with Jimmy G. I'm just not that impressed. I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're much more. The defense is there. The offense is not very good. Garoppolo can't throw outside the numbers. So give me the Chiefs to win this game here. We move on to the Sunday night football game. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Miami Dolphins, where the Dolphins find themselves at home here in the expected return of Tua Tagovailoa, who should return here and do his thing. Now, I'm concerned because the Dolphins' defense has not been very good. But for them, the Steelers' offense has not been very good either. So I don't expect, even with a bad Dolphins defense, for the Steelers to put up a lot of points. It should be Trubisky that plays, who was the hero. I mean, he came in and he got the job done last week against Tampa Bay. It was Trubisky that got the job done. Look, Mike Tomlin, especially on the national stage, is always going to coach up. So I expect this game to be closer than some might anticipate, but ultimately I have to go with the Dolphins to win this game. And then we have the Monday night football game. We have the Chicago Bears at the New England Patriots. And finally, at last, the Bears' horrible roster is catching up to them. Finally, that 2-1 start is the fool's gold I knew it to be. I mean, you have to anticipate these things. People, the Bears stink. And they deserve to be one of the best or one of the worst teams in the NFL. The question is, does Justin Fields stink? Well, let me tell you, the way he plays is, his play on the field is terrible. His play on the field is god-awful. Is it all him? I don't know. I'm willing to be convinced that it's not, but I need to see more. Until then, especially going to Lambeau on a Monday night football game, going up against Bill Belichick. Good luck with that. Got to go to the Patriots to get the job done here. With that said, we move on to my guarantees of the week. These are my betting picks of the week. We begin with the Tennessee Titans -2.5 hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Again, I feel comfortable saying that the Titans are going to win this game, that they're going to play up for this game after a bye week. We've been dominating the Colts as of recent years. I see no reason for that to stop now, given the Titans -2.5. Atlanta at Cincinnati. Over under at 47.5. I think this number is too high, considering the fact that the Falcons, even in wins, they don't put up that many points. They scored 28 last week, won 20-14 against the 49ers. Bengals, again, while I think they're going to allow a lot of runs in this game and the Falcons might score points off of that, I think that's going to drain the clock, might not get as much offensive opportunities. So I like the under 47.5 there. Packers -5. I know they're not playing well, but again, it's been 2 straight losses against, the New York teams. Rodgers is desperate. They need to show up. The Commanders starting Taylor Heineke. Brian Robinson isn't showing much pop yet. I think he's going to get better. But you talk about Heineke and Robinson are going to be able to keep up with the Packers and really score points on the Packers defense. I doubt it. I think Packers -5 is a good bet. I think the Commanders are willing to throw in the tower early in that game. Browns +6.5. I like the number. Again, and this number has been going up, surprisingly. I don't really know why. I think the Browns are going to be desperate in this game. And look, the Ravens, they're not that dominant this year. They're just not, and they're not going to be unless they make serious roster transactions. I don't see that happening. Deshaun Jackson as an acquisition does not count, by the way, as a serious roster change. So give me the Browns +6.5 there. I think it's a good number, the number that I really like. Seattle Seahawks +5. Again, I think they're going to compete against the Chargers. I think they might win outright, even with Keenan Allen. I think they cover the spread at the very least. Again, the Chargers can't stop the run. It should be a backdoor cover. I can see that as a real possibility. I like this 5 number. I think it's very strong considering this back. Also considering how well the Seahawks have played this season against expectations. And finally, the Chiefs -2.5. Again, I feel comfortable saying that they're going to beat the 49ers. Giving up 2.5 points isn't bad. It's Patrick Mahomes. I like betting on Patrick Mahomes. He rarely lets you down. So with that said, those are my NFL Week 7 picks and predictions. What are your picks and predictions? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.